for Lewis. Lewis pawing with the jab as
Lewis is fighting with his feet very wide apart.
Lewis is easily confused.
Down goes
Lewis.
He
caught a short left.
I can't believe what I just saw.
When Lennox Lewis lost his heavyweight title to Oliver McCall a year ago, he may have realized for the first time in his career what's been obvious to many observers for a long time, that his boxing skills were limited, that he telegraphed his right hand, underused his jab, and had trouble keeping his balance. But rather than to take the blame for his loss, Lewis pointed his finger at his former trainer, Pepe Correa.
He told me just to go out there and knock him out. And I was so wound up that I went out there and just threw the right hand to try and knock him out. But I left myself, unprotected. You could say I had a Muppet in my corner and he was telling me to throw out the wrong punches. Pepe was more like a cheerleader than a trainer.
A cheerleader with whom Lewis was quite happy for almost 2.5 years. In need of a new trainer, Lennox hired Emmanuel Stewart, ironically, the man who had prepared McCall to beat him.
I'm actually learning, and which is exciting for me because this is something that I always wanted to do. I don't want to come to the gym and all of a sudden come out of the gym and I say, well, what did I do today? What did I learn today? I'm actually learning something now.
He basically was winning his fights on a big right hand and tremendous natural physical talents and strength. And since working with him, I've tried to improve his balance more. Aside from his balance, Lennox has to be more authoritative and aggressive with his jab.
It's constructive criticism, and I've got a very open mind when it comes to that. If I have a bad day in the gym, they tell me I look terrible. And that makes me want to come back the next day and look good because I hate looking terrible.
So he's talking the talk, but can Lewis walk the walk? In his last 2 fights since having lost the title, we've seen largely the same plodding, jabless, unaggressive Lennox Lewis. Until he improves his technique, criticism will continue.
So far, I've got to say, it looks a lot like the old Lennox Lewis.
Oh, no changes at all.
I've read that Lennox Lewis doesn't have no power. Lennox Lewis doesn't have a chin. Lennox Lewis can't box. People don't give me enough respect, and I think this is a lot of things that I'm boxing for, and each fight that comes along, I gain respect.
But he's had little opportunity to fight for real respect, having seen planned bouts with Evander Holyfield, Riddick Bowe, and tonight's opponent, Tommy Morrison, all fall through for different reasons. Even in his hometown of London, Lewis plays second fiddle to countryman Frank Bruno, especially now, because Bruno holds the title Lewis lost to Oliver McCall.
I've already fought Frank Bruno. I've gave him 17 unanswered punches where the referee had to dive in and save him. Bruno is the past. Lennox Lewis is the future.
For the moment, that's wishful thinking. Bruno's never been more alive, and Lewis is still haunted by his own past, a landscape littered with unfulfilled potential.
I just make sure that I just win and go on from there, because until I get up against a boxer that a lot of people respect and then take him out, then I'm taking all his admiration and putting that towards me. When I first came into boxing, I realized that it's not going to be a straight road as everybody thinks. There's going to be your hills, your curves, and you're going to hit some potholes. And that's the kind of journey that, Lennox Lewis has gone on and still is on. But I'm climbing that hill to the pinnacle.
Lewis reached the pinnacle for a brief moment when he knocked out Razor Ruddock in London 3 years ago. He needs that kind of performance again tonight, that kind of electrifying display of skill, if he is ever again to be taken seriously by heavyweight power brokers. When Tommy Morrison first appeared in the late 80s, he was, inevitably, billed as the next great white hope. A slugger with a swagger who co-starred in Rocky V, he won his first 28 fights, 24 by knockout. But success came so easily, training lost its urgency. Tommy Morrison hit hard, but he partied harder.
Got into a few tangles here and there, drank a little bit too much, but that was the extent of it. I felt that I got crucified by that short stint that I had hanging out in clubs and that sort of stuff. But to me, it was fun, and I was too young to realize and too young to be responsible for my career. You know, my career it wasn't always helping me. There was a lot of people that were depending on me, and I was a very selfish person at one time, and I didn't really care about them. Only I was a me person.
A fifth-round knockout loss to Ray Mercer in 1991 stunned Morrison, but not enough to stop him from drinking or hanging out in clubs.
For a long time, I think I was in denial a lot. I mean, I knew what my problems were. I just had a hard time admitting it to myself.
Tommy continued his routine of partying and training. But in 1993, he won a tactical decision over George Foreman. That victory set the stage for an $8 million bout against then-champion Lennox Lewis. But before Lewis, Morrison first took what he considered to be an easy tune-up fight against Michael Bent.
First-round KO for Michael Bent. And there goes Tommy Morrison's $8 million payday.
That was probably the bottom, and that was after the Bent fight. There was about a period of about 2 or 3 months there where I didn't do anything. I didn't do any training at all. You know, boxing was the furthest thing from my mind. I started trying to drown my sorrows. And one day I was sitting there in my apartment, and I just got so frustrated and so hurt, and I just started crying. Sometimes you have to hit bottom before you can bounce back.
His career slipping away, Tommy Morrison retreated to his roots. He left the party life in his adopted home of Kansas City, Missouri, and bought a ranch near his childhood home in the quiet town of Jay, Oklahoma.
My focus in life was not a bar anymore. I don't go to bars anymore. I don't want to be around that sort of lifestyle. And boy, I'm just so happy that that's all behind me. You know, there comes a time in everybody's life you got to grow up a little bit, and I finally reached that level of maturity where I started doing things right. You know, trying to make people happy, and number one, trying to make myself happy.
Tommy has tried to separate himself from the temptations that damaged him earlier. The only wild animals here are the monkey, the leopard, and the 2 cougars he now raises.
Just being normal is what makes me the most happiest. And it gives me you know, the quality time that I need to devote to the things that are important to me, and that being my girlfriend, my kids, and my family. Being in a position I'm in now, a lot of people around here look up to me. A lot of my friends look up to me. My family looks up to me. And it's very hard, it would be very hard for me to look up to somebody that I knew wasn't doing the right thing. And I think there was a time there that where I wasn't doing the right thing, and I think it was obvious to everybody but me.
Tommy is saying all the right things, but the boxing world is full of fighters who have claimed to be changed men, only to revert back to their troubled pasts.
People can just judge me on what they see, you know, and what I've done. And I feel that if they do that, then they'll see that I'm very sincere about what I've said, and very sincere about my actions and trying to straighten myself out.
If Tommy Morrison is truly now walking the straight and narrow, he'll remember that the road ahead is still uncertain, in and out of the ring.
The following is a special presentation of HBO Sports.
Heads, it's Morrison. Tails, it's Lewis. Any way you look at it, it's a virtual toss-up. Both are power punchers. One from the right side. Right hand by Lewis. Product goes down. The other from the left. And there's the left hook, and down goes Carl Williams. Both have questionable chins. Down goes Lewis, having caught a short left hand inside. Oh, Tommy stunned by right hand, and down goes Morrison. He has been plagued by a weak chin. Both have knocked out over 80% of their opponents. Both have overcome adversity. Good right hand by Williams, and down goes Morrison. Another dramatic power punching comeback for Tommy Morrison. Good right hand by right hand. Bruno has Lewis in serious trouble. Lewis in trouble in the corner, and lands a sensational left hook. One, still to be standing when this night is over. Heads or tails, Morrison or Lewis, it's anyone's call. From the Atlantic City Convention Center in Atlantic City, New Jersey, HBO Sports presents World Championship Boxing as two power-punching heavyweights, Lennox Lewis and Tommy Morrison, face one another in a matchup scheduled for 12 rounds. In a side room of this cavernous hall, not usually used for boxing, but perhaps ominously, the same place in which Tommy Morrison was knocked out in 1991 by Ray Mercer. He enters the ring again tonight against a name heavyweight with a chance to reestablish his credentials as a contender, or perhaps to fade away in the face of Lennox Lewis. Hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Lampley. We welcome you to the first of a series of events which we hope will clear the air in the confused heavyweight division and point the way down the road toward a possible people's champion of heavyweight boxing. First, this match. Then a month from now, the third battle between Evander Holyfield and Riddick Bowe in Las Vegas. And then we hope, after the first of the year, two other recent title holders, George Foreman against Michael Moorer. These two men, Lewis and Morrison, were scheduled to fight each other 2 years ago in 1993. They had signed a contract for a combined $16+ million. $8.5 million for Lewis, $8.1 million for Morrison. But that fight evaporated as first Morrison and then Lewis were shockingly knocked out by other fighters. So 2 years later, they finally get together with a foothold in the heavyweight division's crowded contender list, available to one or the other. Working with us and coming off his stunning 3-round knockout of Tony Thornton a week ago in his hometown of Pensacola, the 168-pound world champion, Roy Jones Jr. Roy, everybody coming into this fight expect a brief slugfest. Could you see it going any other way?
I mean, what else can these two guys really do? I mean, they're going to come out. Nobody wants to waste time. The first guy who lands the big shot will be the guy who's in control. Somebody may get hurt. Somebody may get knocked out early. Who knows? But these fighters know this coming into the fight, so they've got their bums all juiced up. They're ready to go.
All right, so Roy goes with the flow and expects a slugfest, as do most. Tommy Morrison has seen most of his fights go that way. Lennox Lewis is a bit of an enigma, Larry Merchant, and a year ago, whether fairly or not, Lewis was knocked from the ranks of serious heavyweight contenders by one punch from Oliver McCall. What must he do tonight to get back to that plateau?
Well, I thought Tommy Morrison, who should know, put it best when he said that a heavyweight is always just one punch away from redemption or oblivion. And whatever else you can say about Lennox Lewis, that he's awkward and too defensive, that he has a crowd displeasing style, he can punch. That right hand, which may be the biggest punch in all of boxing, is crowd pleasing. Another thing you can also say about Lennox Lewis is that, unlike all the heavyweights out there, he has never ducked an opponent. He's been willing to fight anyone at any time. And lately, that also includes the world chess champion, Garry Kasparov, who, according to Lewis, has promised to play him an exhibition after he defends that title in New York. So, in that fight, you can be sure Lennox Lewis will be a very big underdog. But I think tonight he is the strong favorite to checkmate Tommy Morrison.
And to those who have derided him as a heavyweight, not as a chess player, Lewis likes to point to the one big change he made after his loss to McCall a year ago, when he fired one trainer and hired another. And a slow start for Lewis. Lewis pawing with the jab as Lewis is fighting with his feet very wide apart. Lewis is easily confused. Down goes Lewis. He caught a short left.
I can't believe what I just saw.
When Lennox Lewis lost his heavyweight title to Oliver McCall a year ago, he may have realized for the first time in his career what's been obvious to many observers for a long time, that his boxing skills were limited, that he telegraphed his right hand, underused his jab, and had trouble keeping his balance. But rather than to take the blame for his loss, Lewis pointed his finger at his former trainer, Pepe Correa.
He told me just to go out there and knock him out. And I was so wound up that I went out there and just threw the right hand to try and knock him out. But I left myself, unprotected. You could say I had a Muppet in my corner and he was telling me to throw out the wrong punches. Pepe was more like a cheerleader than a trainer.
A cheerleader with whom Lewis was quite happy for almost 2.5 years. In need of a new trainer, Lennox hired Emanuel Stewart, ironically, the man who had prepared McCall to beat him.
I'm actually learning, and which is exciting for me because this is something that I always wanted to do. I don't want to come to the gym and all of a sudden come out of the gym and I say, well, what did I do today? What did I learn today? I'm actually learning something now.
He basically was winning his fights on a big right hand and tremendous natural physical talents and strength. And since working with him, I tried to improve his balance more. Aside from his balance, Lennox has to be more authoritative and aggressive with his jab.
There's constructive criticism, and I've got a very open mind when it comes to that. If I have a bad day in the gym, they tell me I look terrible. And that makes me want to come back the next day and look good because I hate looking terrible.
So he's talking the talk, but can Lewis walk the walk? In his last 2 fights since having lost the title, we've seen largely the same plodding, jabless, unaggressive Lennox Lewis. Until he improves his technique, criticism will continue. So far, I've got to say, it looks a lot like the old Lennox Lewis.
Oh, no changes at all.
I've read that Lennox Lewis doesn't have no power. Lennox Lewis doesn't have a chin. Lennox Lewis can't box. People don't give me enough respect, and I think this is a lot of things that I'm boxing for, and each fight that comes along, I gain respect.
But he's had little opportunity to fight for real respect, having seen planned bouts with Evander Holyfield, Riddick Bowe, and tonight's opponent, Tommy Morrison, all fall through for different reasons. Even in his hometown of London, Lewis plays second fiddle to countryman Frank Bruno, especially now, because Bruno holds the title Lewis lost to Oliver McCall.
I've already fought Frank Bruno. I've gave him 17 unanswered punches where the referee had to dive in and save him. Bruno is the past. Lennox Lewis is the future.
For the moment, that's wishful thinking. Bruno's never been more alive, and Lewis is still haunted by his own past, a landscape littered with unfulfilled potential.
I just make sure that I just win and go on from there, because until I get up against a boxer that a lot of people respect and then take him out, then I'm taking all his admiration and putting that towards me. When I first came into boxing, I realized that it's not going to be a straight road as everybody thinks. There's going to be your hills, your curves, and you're going to hit some potholes. And that's the kind of journey that, Lennox Lewis has gone on and still is on. But I'm climbing that hill to the pinnacle.
Lewis reached the pinnacle for a brief moment when he knocked out Razor Ruddock in London 3 years ago. He needs that kind of performance again tonight, that kind of electrifying display of skill, if he is ever again to be taken seriously by heavyweight power brokers.
We bring you back live to the Atlantic City Convention Center. Still to come in a matter of a few minutes, Lennox Lewis of England against Tommy Morrison of Oklahoma. A battle to establish one or the other as a remaining serious contender for the People's Championship of the heavyweight division. Roy Jones Jr., Lennox Lewis says that Emanuel Stewart's presence in his corner will change him a lot. But Lewis turned 30 years old last month. How much at this stage of his career can Stewart do to change him?
Well, I don't think Stewart can really do a whole lot to change Lewis. Basically because Lewis is 30 years old. It's hard to teach a guy something new at age 20. So what could he really teach him or change about him at age 30? I'm curious to see, because I haven't seen it done. On the other hand, Stewart could be the guy who could guide him back to some of his old things that he may have shied away from, that can make Lewis a much better fighter that can bring Lewis back to where he used to be.
The guy who knocked out Ruddock a few years ago.
There you go.
That's who he needs to be to make a splash again in this division as he gets ready to face yet another new incarnation of Tommy Morrison. Tommy's had about 6 different personal presentations. Now he presents himself to us as a quiet Seventh-day Adventist who leads a model life in his small town in Oklahoma. That's quite a change from what we've seen in the past. 2 years ago, Larry, you and I were in Tulsa and watched him get hammered in the first round by lightly regarded Michael Bent. At that moment, did you ever think you'd see him back in this heavyweight contendership picture?
Yeah, sure, if he lived. But that was never a sure thing with Tommy Morrison, because he's one of those people who thinks the fast lane is for wimps. One of the things he has going for him, of course, is that he's a box office attraction, and box office attractions can be as difficult to get rid of as sinus infections. But the other thing he has going for him is that he is a survivor. He reminds me of those race car drivers who always seem to walk away from those terrible wrecks. Peel them up against the wall, roll them over, set them on fire. You just can't kill them. So I think you can knock him down, Jim, but I wouldn't count him out.
Never can count him out. His left hook, like Lennox Lewis's right hand, may be the hardest punch in the heavyweight division. But what about the new lifestyle? Well, Tommy Morrison says it will never be the same as it used to be. The only thing he hopes to keep is that heavy left hook. When Tommy Morrison first appeared in the late 80s, he was, inevitably, billed as the next great white hope. A slugger with a swagger who co-starred in Rocky V, he won his first 28 fights, 24 by knockout. But success came so easily, training lost its urgency. Tommy Morrison hit hard, but he partied harder.
Got into a few tangles here and there, drank a little bit too much, but that was the extent of it. You know, I felt that I got crucified by that short stint that I had hanging out in clubs and that sort of stuff. But to me, it was fun, and I was too young to realize and too young to be responsible for my career. You know, my career it wasn't always helping me. There was a lot of people that were depending on me, and I was a very selfish person at one time, and I didn't really care about them. Only I was a me person.
A 5th-round knockout loss to Ray Mercer in 1991 stunned Morrison, but not enough to stop him from drinking or hanging out in clubs.
For a long time, I think I was in denial a lot. I mean, I knew what my problems were. I just had a hard time admitting it to myself.
Tommy continued his routine of partying and training. But in 1993, he won a tactical decision over George Foreman. That victory set the stage for an $8 million bout against then-champion Lennox Lewis. But before Lewis, Morrison first took what he considered to be an easy tune-up fight against Michael Bent. A first-round KO for Michael Bent. And there goes Tommy Morrison's $8 million payday.
That was probably the bottom, and that was after the Bent fight. There was about a period of about 2 or 3 months there where I didn't do anything. I didn't do any training at all. You know, boxing was the furthest thing from my mind. I started trying to drown my sorrows. And one day I was sitting there in my apartment, and I just got so frustrated and so hurt, and I just started crying. Sometimes you have to hit bottom before you can bounce back.
His career slipping away, Tommy Morrison retreated to his roots. He left the party life in his adopted home of Kansas City, Missouri, and bought a ranch near his childhood home in the quiet town of Jay, Oklahoma.
My focus in life is not a bar anymore. I don't go to bars anymore. I don't want to be around that sort of lifestyle. And boy, I'm just so happy that that's all behind me. You know, there comes a time in everybody's life you got to grow up a little bit, and I finally reached that level of maturity where I started doing things right, you know, trying to make people happy, and number one, trying to make myself happy.
Tommy has tried to separate himself from the temptations that damaged him earlier. The only wild animals here are the monkey, the leopard, and the 2 cougars he now raises.
Just being normal is what makes me the most happiest. And it gives me, you know, the quality time that I need to devote to the things that are important to me, and that being my girlfriend, my kids, and my family. Being in a position that I'm in now, a lot of people around here look up to me. A lot of my friends look up to me. My family looks up to me. And it's very hard, it would be very hard for me to look up to somebody that I knew wasn't doing the right thing. And I think there was a time there that where I wasn't doing the right thing, and I think it was obvious to everybody but me.
Tommy is saying all the right things, but the boxing world is full of fighters who have claimed to be changed men, only to revert back to their troubled pasts.
People can just judge me on what they see, you know, what I've done. And I feel that if they do that, then they'll see that I'm very sincere about what I've said and very sincere about my actions and trying to straighten myself out.
If Tommy Morrison is truly now walking the straight and narrow, he'll remember that the road ahead is still uncertain, in and out of the ring.
Tail of the tape, and as we mentioned, Lennox Lewis turned 30 last month. Morrison still only 26 years old. Morrison weighs 227. That's what Lewis weighed on his best night, Halloween '92, when he knocked out Ruddock. But now he's up to 241, and Lewis has a 4-inch reach advantage. Punch that numbers, Larry.
Take a look at their profiles of activity, and you can see that they are roughly active in the same degree. About average for heavyweights. The jabs may be the key here, because what we have noticed in their fights is that when they use the jab is when each of them is most effective.
And rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Lennox Lewis-Tommy Morrison fight is scheduled for 12 rounds. The standing 8 count is in effect. There is no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the last. Jim.
And there was the obligatory last-minute war of wills over who would enter the ring first. Ultimately settled by a coin flip. And the winner or loser, if you choose to call it that, of the coin flip is Lennox Lewis, and he will enter the ring first.
You mentioned his weight, Jim. He's one of those athletes with a wonderful body who conceals a weight gain. If Riddick Bowe had put on 14 pounds since he had won the title, everybody would be saying he's sloppy, he doesn't care anymore, he's not interested in fighting. So maybe beneath that cape, there's something else going on inside Lennox Lewis, and we'll find out tonight.
Lewis claims, I'm just a big guy, I train hard, I eat the right way, and if the numbers on the scale go up, all that means is I'm still growing. Is he fooling himself, Roy?
Well, I think he could be fooling himself, because this guy at age 30 is not growing as what we consider growing. He may be expanding, but not growing.
So the expansive Lewis, with an expansive and seemingly constantly expanding entourage, makes his way in.
Lewis has been promised a shot at the WBC title if he wins here, but we all know what those kinds of promises mean from the WBC.
And the record for Lennox Lewis, 23 KOs out of 27 wins. The 1 loss, the second round, 1 punch, quick count, knockout at the hands of Oliver McCall in London more than a year ago. And preceded by trainer Tommy Burgess, here comes Tommy Morrison.
Let's take a look at Tommy Morrison as he was then, curly-headed, bleached blonde kid. And now you see him now trying to make the same kind of transformation to a serious athlete as Andre Agassi did. Can he be as successful as Agassi has been since he showed his maturity?
Larry mentioned all of the surgeries Morrison has undergone, the most recent shoulder surgery in the wake of his 6th round technical knockout of Razor Ruddock earlier this year.
He's had about a dozen surgeries altogether. Just 26 years old, 6 on his legs, 4 in his hands, 1 on his jaw, and 1 on that shoulder. He's been through the wars in and out of the ring.
The letters TCB on the back of Morrison's robe stand for taking care of business. And of course, you see on the trunks the word Duke, representative of the fact that he is a grand nephew of the late Marion Morrison, a.k.a. John Wayne. And the record for Tommy Morrison, 45 wins, 2 losses, a draw, 39 KOs, both losses to Mercer and Bent, also by knockout. Tommy Morrison is a 3-to-1 betting underdog in this fight, probably as much as anything because of this. His penchant for tasting the canvas. 10 times in the 90s, Morrison's been knocked down. There they are, once by Mercer, once by Hip, twice by Williams, 3 times by Bent, twice by journeyman Ross Purity, and once by Razor Ruddock, as Larry Merchant points out. He only lost the Mercer and Bent fights, so from 6 of these knockdowns, he got up and won the fight. But Roy Jones will look at some tape of Tommy, and you tell us, why is he so vulnerable to the knockdown?
One of the main reasons is that Tommy is a big puncher. When you're a big puncher like that, you have to be stationary to deliver the big shots. They also take up more time getting from point A to point B. So most of the time he's caught either between the big shots or caught looking for a big shot.
Here's the Bent fight.
Boom, he got caught right between 2 big shots. He threw 1 big shot, took time to get set for the other, and Bent caught him.
So what you're saying is when he's attacking, Tommy Morrison is an ideal target for a counterpuncher. Lewis is seen by most as a natural counterpuncher.
Lewis is a great counterpuncher, and if he takes his time tonight, doesn't get too quick to try to counter, then he may be at an advantage over Tommy Morrison because of this.
All right, Roy Jones Jr. Now let's go up to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the pre-fight introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, main events, Panics Promotions, Holden Productions, and the Casino Association of New Jersey, along with your undisputed, undefeated King of Beers, Budweiser. This Bud's for you. Present the featured bout of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing in the heavyweight division. This bout is sanctioned by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board, Boxing Commissioner Larry Hazard Sr. The 3 judges assigned at ringside to score this bout on a 10-point must system are Frank Brunette, Al DeVito, and Eugene Grant. And when the bell rings, the man in charge of the action, referee Mills Lane. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the convention hall here in Atlantic City, New Jersey, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black trimmed with red and weighing in at 227 pounds. He comes to us tonight from Jay, Oklahoma, and brings a professional record of 45 victories against only 2 defeats with 1 draw, and 39 of his victories are by way of knockout. In his career, he holds victories over Razor Ruddock, Pinklin Thomas, and Big George Foreman, and he has captured 2 championship belts from the WBO and the IBC. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing a 2-time world heavyweight champion, Tommy the Duke Morrison. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner. He's wearing black, trimmed with gold and red letters. He weighed in officially at 241 pounds. In 1988, he captured Olympic gold by defeating Riddick Bowe. And as a professional, he now has a record of 27 victories with only 1 defeat. And he has reigned as the world heavyweight title holder, a title he is on a mission to regain. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting from East London, England, the former heavyweight champion of the world, Lennox Lewis.
Okay. All right. Tommy Morrison. All right, listen up. If he goes right here, Tommy, right here is going to be all right. We've already gone through all the instructions. Expect a tough, clean fight. Protect yourself at all times. Any questions here? Any questions here? Let's get it on.
These fighters are not so much at a crossroads as at an intersection without any stoplights, and everybody is looking for a big collision.
Yesterday, when we met with them, Lennox Lewis made a big point of telling us that he has learned since the McCall fight how to ease his way into a bout, not looking for the big punch from the outset. Tommy Morrison has made a big point of saying, I don't think I can outbox Lennox Lewis. I don't even think it's worth trying. But he did outbox George Foreman a couple of years ago, and there are some of us who still expect to see some of those in and out tactics.
I think Morrison made a very good statement, because with Lennox using this jab like he is, it's going to be very difficult for Morrison to outbox him. The weight that Lennox has added looks good. He is not too big. He's gained weight in all the right places. It must be mostly in his legs, because I cannot tell from his upper body. His upper body looks good.
Lewis trying to land the right cross, has missed a couple of them so far. Morrison not able to open up and throw much yet, as Lewis is keeping him at bay with the jab. You look at the size and strength of Lennox Lewis in there, Roy Jones. He presents as formidable a picture as there is in the heavyweight division.
Yes, he's a very intimidating picture just looking at him for a person like Morrison.
What I've noticed early in this fight already, guys, is that Lewis's jab is much more authoritative than we're used to seeing it. He's usually pawing it out there. He's trying to put some steam behind it now.
Yes, but he can't get lackadaisical with it and slow it down, because this is the best punch in boxing to counter a jab.
Hard right hand by Tommy Morrison as he steps in and gets it across the top of Lewis's left shoulder.
Which Morrison just tried to do.
Lewis is old, and most think bad habit is to leave the jab laying out there and measure his man with it.
And the reason that they think this is a bad habit is because the best time to hit a guy, like I said, is when his jab is extended.
More than 2 minutes into the round, Tommy Morrison has landed 2 counter right hands against Lennox Lewis's jab, but Lewis's jab has dominated the action so far. Morrison's left was blocked against Lewis's arms. The right hand got through again.
If I were in Lewis's corner, I would be telling him to throw the straight right to the body some. That would move Tommy Morrison's hand, and that would create an opening for the right hand to the face.
Lewis finding an inviting target for the jab so far. Has missed every time with the right hand, but Morrison is very aware of Lewis's right and flinches away from it when Lennox throws.
Tommy has developed a small swelling under his right eye from that jab already.
Another right hand miss as the round comes to a close, and a relaxed Morrison allows himself to go to his knees. Lewis pushing him on the back of the head.
Keep working the jab. You're going to find him. He's really cautious. He felt the power, and he's not coming in. He's staying back. Just keep working the jab. Everything will happen. He may be getting away from him, but sooner or later you'll get close enough. You'll figure out, instead of taking it over, you get close enough, maybe take it right on up underneath. But keep working the left hand. He can't get his attack going because he's felt the power of the jab. So let's work on the jab. Everything will fall in place.
It's a little higher time. After you throw a combination, you make sure you come out low. Ultimately, you're going to see that right hand coming all night long. All right? Let's take it away from him by using more jabs, more sevens. Double up on your 7, look for the body. Double up on your 7, look for the body. A little more speed.
Lewis is trying to do 2 things. One, you see his right hand is high. He's ready for the great left hook that Morrison does have. And secondly, it's that jab. He's trying to force an opening rather than merely wait for an opening as he has often done in the past.
There he was holding the left hand out there as he tried to land the right hand over the top, but he threw 52 snapping jabs in round number 1, and that kind of activity can only be a product of Emmanuel Steward's reworking of Lennox Lewis's fighting style.
That's the right hand that Lennox threw right then that I'm saying he should throw to the body. That way, later in the fight, if he starts to tire, Morrison will tire too from these body shots.
If he punches to the body at all, Roy, it's a big step forward. One thing we've noticed in Lewis's past fights, he seems to forget constantly to go to the body.
Morrison seems to be forgetting that same thing right now, though. He should be working Lewis's body as well. He's the shorter fighter here. For him to have an advantage, he should throw more body shots that can bring Lewis's hands down.
Morrison almost sneaked the left hook past Lewis's right hand. It was partially blocked. Lennox Lewis beating Tommy Morrison to the punch with the jab. Tommy just hasn't gotten his jab going because Lennox's left hand keeps coming out.
And if I were Tommy, I wouldn't throw many jabs at Lewis because Lewis is looking down over Tommy's left hand. If he throws a jab and leaves it out a second too long, Lewis will counter.
Thunder with the right hand over the top.
One thing I did like about Tommy is that in between the first and second round in the corner, Tommy was breathing, long stride, and there's a good body shot.
Good body shot by Morrison, but he goes down, so score it a knockdown for Lewis.
I thought it was a left hook. The fighters had their backs to us, so we couldn't tell. But if it was a very short left hook.
Fascinating exchange because Morrison seemed to be doing damage to the body, and all of a sudden he was on the canvas.
It was a counter left hook. Right between his combinations, his big punches, which is what I told you earlier about the big punches that he throws.
That's what happens to Morrison. Lewis just misses with the right hand, and now there's blood at Tommy Morrison's right eye. So the little left hook from Lennox Lewis that put Morrison down has apparently also cut his eye. Both fighters more aggressive now.
Morrison needs to move his head more. He's making himself a still target for Lewis. Lewis looking down can hit a still target much, much easier than Tommy can looking up.
Both fighters need more head movement. Right now, Morrison is the one who needs it most. Round 2 coming to a close. There was a knockdown in the round for Lewis.
This is the best Lewis we've seen in a while. Much more measured, less wild, better footwork.
Much better footwork.
Okay. They caught with a little left hook there. All right, no, listen to what I'm saying. We're letting him fight his fight here because we're at the end of his punches.
Okay.
All right, this round we got to pick up the pace. You got to start stalking.
All right, let's check out and see that left hook that we thought was delivered inside. If it is, it's one of the most impressive punches we've ever seen Lewis land, although it just landed high on the head. But he wasn't even throwing those kinds of punches on most occasions before, looking to throw that short left hook.
They get a little lower.
One thing about the combination that enabled Morrison to be hit was that he threw a double right hand, which left the right side of the face wide open for too long of a period of time.
In the corner.
Lewis also has that right hand up around his head like a gate, trying to block Morrison's way in with it.
There's another good left hook by Lennox Lewis as he goes right after the eye that he bloodied in the last round.
The way he's throwing that hook is almost as though he's been watching some Roy Jones tapes or something.
It's not that good, Roy. Morrison landed a straight right after the opening exchange, but Lewis still able to keep Morrison out at the end of his jab for the time being.
Lewis must be careful when he throws a wild punch then. He shouldn't get wild because that's Tommy's game. Tommy needs to throw the wide punches because he's reaching up.
The knockdown, of course, marked the 11th time in the decade of the 90s that Tommy Morrison's been down. There's another good left hook for Lennox Lewis.
And if Morrison keeps standing out there and letting Lennox dictate the pace, you can count for a 12th knockdown because he will go down again. It's crazy to stand out there on the end of a tall man's punches. He has more leverage out there. It's harder for you to hit him from out there, and you're in his punching reach, and he is not in yours.
So how is Tommy going to get inside?
He has to move his head and start trying to make Lennox throw decent punches so he can slip them and get inside. Once he gets inside, he has to stay inside. That right there is not the place for Morrison to be.
So far, he has not been able to slip Lewis's jab. He's eating it, and as long as that's the case, he won't get inside.
Well, there he's inside. He can block the jab, go in, but he can't throw 2 and 3 punch combinations because Lennox is doing something smart. He's punching between Morrison's punches, which is what I told you would be a problem for him.
Let him go, Lennox. Let him go, Tommy.
Lewis landed a downward canted right hand there. Not full power.
If I were Morrison, I would be content with that right there, getting one body shot at a time, hoping to tire Lennox in the later round.
Get off that neck. Come on, let's go.
Mills Lane all the way here from Nevada tonight. If we get a chance later, we'll tell you exactly what's going on there. New Jersey State Athletic Commissioner Larry Hazard looking to nationalize officiating in the sport. He says bringing in a Nevada referee for this fight is one step in that direction.
I can tell you one more thing that I can see. Morrison is getting a little closer to Lennox. This means that Lennox may be getting a little tired in the leg department.
Morrison, I thought, landed a big but grazing right in that exchange.
Watch the heads in there. Both get off that neck, Lewis. Come on.
Third round coming to a close. Relatively cautious round for Lewis.
You know what you can do. I'm going to leave it up to you. If you want to, you could almost just walk him down, get right inside on him now, because you got control of him inside. Walk him down if you want to with short shots and keep making him move back. Take the rest of his strength. You don't have to worry about no shots. You can walk him down and stay with short shots there and push him back all while you're punching. Because your punches are much shorter than his punches elsewhere.
You got to make it happen, Tommy. You're high on me. You're high on me. I need you lower. I need you lower. You got to sit down on that hip, get the weight on the ball of the front foot. All right? Head movement as you're coming in. Constant head movement.
Coming in, head movement?
Yes. Low hips, ball of the foot. That's the way.
It's up to you. If you want to walk him down, just put your hands up tight and walk straight to him. He can't do shit. It's too much weight, too much strength. Break him down.
Stewart's pretty confident in there, Roy.
Yeah, but you never should underestimate a puncher such as Tommy Morrison. I wouldn't try to walk him down. I would sit there and box him just like Lennox is doing. Keep him off balance with the jab and just peck him until you set up a big shot.
If you've been as successful as Lewis has been up to this point, why would you change it? Why wouldn't you just wait for the big one to come to you?
It's almost like backing a cat into the corner if you put your hands up and walk him down. You're going to make him fight him much harder than he is doing right now.
There's a right hand by Morrison. He's got a mouse under his left eye, but he's starting to connect more and more frequently with those right hands as he steps inside. Body shot landed, uppercut partially blocked by Morrison. Lewis short with the right hand. Stands to reason that if Lewis listens to Stewart and elects to walk on in, he's going to give Morrison more opportunities.
That's what I just said. It's almost going to be like backing a cat into a corner and making him have to fight. If you force Morrison to fight, you're going to get caught with some big, sharp punches because he throws powerful, sharp punches.
Tommy taking punishment off the jab. More and more, it looks like Morrison was correct when he said there was no way he could outbox Lennox Lewis.
Yes, and I said that at the top because if Lennox uses this jab like he's doing, then there's no chance of Morrison outboxing him. He should work on trying to counter that jab.
Lewis reaches forward and grabs Morrison. Mills Lane gets him at the distance again, and Lewis landed a right hand.
The crowd booed that move that Lennox made, but that was a smart move. Morrison had got just about in his own punching range, and Lennox was not in his punching range, so he grabbed him.
Kind of ring awareness Lewis has not always shown in his career. You put this talent together with real knowledge, and you've really got something, but that's always been the case.
Another thing I see here, Lennox's jab is starting to look like it's falling slightly. If it falls, he'll have to be very careful after it comes back. It's falling on the way back. If it falls, he'll have to be very careful of that right hand right there.
And that's what Tommy just tried to do, countering over the jab with the right hand.
All right, one step back. One step back clean. Here we go. Come on.
Lewis landing more punches. Morrison maybe landing the harder shots, although there was another hard left hook by Lennox Lewis. He's never been noted as a left hooker. It's been his most effective blow tonight. Blood from the right eye of Morrison again after that left hook by Lewis. Morrison stepping in with the right. And lands a chopping right as the round comes to a close. Turn to HBO for the show the pros watch, Inside the NFL, as hosts Len Dawson, Nick Bonacotti, and Chris Collinsworth are joined each week by Jimmy Johnson to take a complete look back and a first look ahead at all the action throughout the National Football League. Inside the NFL premieres Thursday nights at 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern and Pacific time on HBO.
Bang, 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 try to get close, get your body weight on it. And lock time, watch when you're pulling back, because you're looking for the hook and he's trying to throw sneaky right hands at you. So you got to watch both of them, okay? Let's punish you with the left hand this round. Try to bust him up real good with the left hand.
They don't pursue this guy walking down, firing punches. You let him out too many times and you're trying to go high, right? You got to go low to high. Jab.
Tommy Morrison, throughout his career, has had a monumental problem being effective in the 5th round. It happens way too frequently to just be a statistical coincidence. Morrison seems to tire automatically at the end of 4 rounds. His trainer, Tommy Burgett, says to all intents and purposes, he's never won a 5th round in his career. And as the graphic showed you, his punch output normally goes way down in this stanza. It happened again earlier this summer against Razor Ruddock.
Both of these fighters are very tired. The only thing is that Morrison is starting to swell, and it's going to start, his eyes are starting to swell, and this should start affecting his vision soon. So if he's going to make a move, he has to start making it now.
Harold Letterman, how do you have it scored so far?
Jim, 4 rounds to nothing, 40-35, Lennox Lewis. I gave Lennox all 4 rounds. Certainly he deserves an extra point in round 2 for the knockdown. Lennox has shown me a great left jab. Real good defense. Tommy's not getting through, and I think Burgett is killing Morrison with all that Vaseline. It's going in his eye. Can't see the punches coming.
And right now, Lewis is landing combinations at will. When Morrison comes forward, Lennox simply jabs and then drops the right hand over. He's been very effective in the first minute of this round.
2 things I see. One thing is that Morrison knows that the 5th round is not a good round for him. He's letting this mental thing get to him. The second thing is that Lennox is not hitting Morrison's body. If he touches body, he will knock him out.
But Morrison is trying to fight Lewis the way he fought George Foreman, staying outside his range and then trying to fight and get inside in his own terms. But Lewis is just much faster than George, so he's having a real difficult time executing that plan.
And not only that, if you stay out of Lennox's range and he has the longest arms, then that means you're that much further out of your own range.
Morrison landed a left hook after Lewis's right hand, so both men did damage there. But Tommy Morrison is battered around both eyes and appears to be losing his vision as time goes on.
Yes, but look at the facial expression. Morrison has almost an I give up facial expression. Lennox has an I'm about to take over now expression on his face. These things play a big role in a boxing ring, because when you see a guy with that I give look, it gives you more confidence, gives you energy sometimes that you don't even have to want to get him out.
Under a minute in round number 4. Or check it, round number 5, I should say. As has been the pattern throughout his career, Morrison has been largely dominated in this 5th round by Lewis. All those punches punches were blocked by Lennox Lewis's arms. And there's a monumental uppercut. Morrison went to one knee. Lane calls it a knockdown, correctly so. Morrison knew it. He went immediately to the neutral corner, and that right eye's looking pretty bad.
This fight is basically over. Like I told you before, Morrison has that I give up look on him. Lennox knows it. Lennox is just going to keep coming. Lennox has done his homework on Morrison. He knows every combination that Morrison throws, and they're insane. So he cannot hit Lennox.
Round 5 ends. Lennox Lewis, to this moment in the fight, has looked better than at any time in his career since Halloween night 1992 when he clocked Ruddock in the second round.
How's your eye? Come on. I got this one. I got the left one.
All right. Give him a round, Doc. Give him a round.
Oh, yeah, we're going to give him a round. We just want to see how bad it is.
Okay. Tommy, listen to what I'm going to tell you now. You have got to take him into a war this round. Right? There's no more. We're not going to win by points on this. You got to get low. You got to stalk him. You got to take him into a war. Okay. Nice, tight, low, controlled combination.
He's thrown a lot of long right hands, Lewis, in this fight, as we've often seen him. But it's that short one that Tommy Morrison didn't see that put him down.
Like I said, Lennox has done his homework on Morrison. He's using some of Morrison's own combinations on him. That's Morrison's favorite combination that he dropped him with just then.
Tommy Virgin,
take some of this grease off.
Morrison's trainer, sounds like he might stop the fight himself unless Morrison can do some serious damage in this round.
Yes,
he asked the doctor to give him one more round when the doctor wasn't even thinking of it at that point.
Yes, but he can sense the urgency on Morrison's face. Morrison has basically almost given up in this fight. He wants to go out and see can he land a big shot now.
Oh, that's a terrific right-hand shot by Lewis. That landed flush on Morrison's chin.
Very flush. But Morrison just wants a chance to try for one more knockout. Then I think he knows that he's basically outclassed by Lewis.
He'll make a statement here anytime.
In pleading his own case, you might have heard Morrison say to the doctor, "I've still got my left hook," by way of saying, listen, don't stop this thing too fast. I'm dangerous. But the left hook has not been a factor so far. Down goes Morrison again, and this is becoming a blowout.
Morrison is too concerned about his eye. He's letting his eye take him out of the fight.
Third knockdown of the night for Lewis. And Lennox begins to showboat just a little bit. Now he comes back to the jab, popping it and bringing it back the way you're supposed to.
This was the round that Morrison stopped Ruddock after taking a terrible beating.
Lane's getting very close to a stoppage here. You get that sense. Down goes Morrison again, and I wonder if Mills has seen enough. There is no 3 knockdown rule in effect. That's the 4th knockdown of the fight. And that'll do it.
A terrific performance by Lennox Lewis. Defensively, he kept that right hand up so that he completely neutralized Tommy Morrison's outstanding left hook. His jab was harder than we've seen it before, more purposeful. He fought a perfect fight for Lennox Lewis.
Emmanuel Stewart has been saying for the past few months, there isn't a heavyweight on the planet who could last 8 rounds with Lennox Lewis. Now that obviously has a touch of hype in it.
Well, it has a touch, but the hype that it has is to give other heavyweights the message that he is willing to challenge anybody to go. And that's a sign of a great champion. Had Lennox fought Riddick Bowe back when both of them were champions, I think one of those guys would be the world heavyweight champion right now today.
Yes, the unchallenged king of the division. That should have happened in early 1993. For a variety of reasons, it didn't. Now, let's take a look at the first of the 2 knockdowns in this round. Roy Jones?
Lennox, like I said, has sensed the feeling of urgency on the face of Morrison, so he know all he had to do was hit him. This first one, that's a jab that really did the damage. That shows you how weak mentally and physically Morrison was.
It's another look at the first knockdown, and the jab bothered him there. You can see that Morrison was concerned about his eyes at this point, and once again, you'll see the jab do the damage there, followed by the finishing right hand that put him on the canvas. Now here's knockdown number 2, Roy.
Knockdown number 2 is almost the same thing I did to Pat Zilzer. He let Morrison punch till he had him tired. Morrison thought he could walk out of an exchange, but he couldn't. He wasn't out of the range of Lennox. Because Lennox got closer to him, he was used to backing up and being out of range. But see right there, he wasn't out of range.
And how effective was that left hook tonight? Aside from one damaging left hook against Bruno in Cardiff a couple of years ago, Lennox has never been known for that punch, but he landed a dozen good left hooks in this fight.
Like I told you, I can tell
He's watching the Roy Jones video.
Somebody somewhere has been watching some Roy Jones tapes.
When you throw it right, what a dramatically effective punch it is. Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official particulars.
KO victory. His march to regain the heavyweight championship continues. The winner, former heavyweight champion Lennox Lewis.
Final punch stat numbers, and you'll see Lewis's statistical dominance in the fight. Landed more than twice as many punches as Morrison, threw 130 more punches than Morrison, and brought his connect percentage in the last couple of rounds up from the middle 30s to over 50%. He landed 28 out of 38 punches in round number 6, by which point he was turning it into a blowout. 198 jabs thrown in 6 rounds by Lennox Lewis, and he landed 46% of them. That's the kind of boxing which could turn him into a legitimate threat to be the people's champion of the heavyweight division. Larry Merchant stands by with the winner of the fight.
Lennox Lewis, congratulations. You describe for us how you were different, or how you felt different in this fight than you have in some other fights.
Well, you know, I came out really relaxed. I just realized that, you know, as long as I take patience and use my jab and let's go behind a good jab and just throw some combination, it wouldn't be too much.
Describe what you think are the changes in Lennox Lewis now, because to us at ringside you seem to be not only using the jab more, throwing a left hook more, which we hadn't seen much of, being more aware by having your glove defending against his left hook. How have these changes come about?
Definitely Emmanuel Stewart. I have to give credit to Emmanuel Stewart and the team behind me, Courtney Shan, Harold the Shadow Knight. They've helped me develop this, and you know, all I needed was a good coach to show me some technical things, and I'm a good student.
Hold on for 1 second, and let's talk to the teacher here, the Professor Emmanuel Stewart. Give us your grade for what he did here tonight and why he was able to do it.
I'd give Lennox a B+ tonight. I thought the main thing is he had confidence. He came out with like a cocky, arrogant type attitude, like a gang leader, which is just opposite of what he has been in the past. And everything else flowed, mainly behind the left jab. That was the key. Even though he wasn't landing it early in the fight, it kept Morrison from getting set into any attack.
Big up our crew.
Is it fair to say you've not been trying to change him, but to modify him and use the things he has in a more positive way?
No, I can't change it completely. You know, he's a physically big man. He's loosening up more, physically and mentally, I think. And he's putting more punches, left uppercut, left hook. But the left hook is really the key that he wanted to work on in this particular fight.
All right, we want to take a look at some of the knockdowns here as soon as we get a monitor in place. But let me ask you your plans first now for the future. Do you want the winner? You want the winner of Bruno and Holyfield, or do you, of Bowe and Holyfield, or do you want Bruno for the title you once held? What's your priority?
Well, my priority is Frank Bruno first, and then the winner of Holyfield or Bowe. I just take them as they come. I don't care who I fight. You know, I just want the best out there. I don't want no Mickey Mouse fights.
All right. Let's take a look now at some of the knockdowns in the last round on the monitor as they come through. Describe the end of the fight for us.
Well, basically, I was just taking my time because I realized that, you know, he was getting tired, and I watched him on videotape. Every time he moves away from a clinch, he always puts his hand down. So, and then he was watching out for my right hand, so I figured I'll throw my left hook. I told everybody I got an arsenal filled with punches I can throw at any given moment. So, you know, you can't really just watch out for the right hand when it comes to me.
Thank you very much, and we hope to see you soon again, Lennox, after that performance. Jim?
All right, thank you very much. Roy Jones Jr., that Lennox Lewis, is he a threat to be the best heavyweight there is?
That Lennox Lewis is definitely a threat to be the best heavyweight on this planet today.
Who would be the toughest matchup for him? Tyson, Holyfield, Bo? Which one of those guys would present him with the biggest style problem?
One heavyweight would be a problem. That's the other guy who I think could be the best heavyweight on this planet. That happens to be Riddick Big Daddy Bo.
And that would be a tremendous sight to see if they ever got in together, because they'd both be over 240 pounds, and they're the two hardest right-hand punchers in the division, probably.
And they're both almost equal in style, equal in size, and equal in talent. So it will come down to a hard thing, a thinking man's game, and that way you'll find out exactly who is the best heavyweight out there today.
People are always speculating about you fighting heavyweights. In fact, there's been discussion about what it would be like if you fought Tyson. Would you fight this guy?
Nah, he's a little too tall. I have the same problem that Morrison had. I have a hard time catching him. I mean, you can't hit those tall guys. I wouldn't fight a big heavyweight.
Let's go up to Larry again.
All right, Tommy Morrison, it seemed to us that you were looking at a different, more disciplined Lennox Lewis in this fight than you might have seen before or hope to see again.
Well, I think he was very disciplined in this fight, but, you know, one thing for me is that I wasn't able to execute the way I done. I just got a shot in the eye, it closed. I'm used to fighting with broken hands and broken jaws and all kinds of things, but I've never had to go to battle with something like this, and he's a long-arm guy. I have no excuses. I mean, he was a better man tonight, but, you know, I never fought in this position before, but I'm young, no sense in taking punishment, and I'll be back. You know, it's one of those things.
So you're going to be coming back once again?
Oh, definitely. You know, I think it would have been a different fight. Judging somebody as long as Lennox Lewis is difficult enough on its own. We tried to do it with one eye with the depth perception problem. Sometimes it's very difficult, and this first time I experienced it in 49 fights, and didn't handle it that well, but next time we'll know what to do.
You've always been a very keen and honest analyst of other fighters as well as yourself. Give us your analysis of this Lennox Lewis and some of the other big heavyweights out there.
Well, based on the fight, you got to give him some credit. He did a good job against someone that's young and powerful. But on the flip side of that, was fighting a guy that was pretty much handicapped there. I never not used to participating under these conditions, and you know, I'm a young fighter. I have a lot to learn, and you know, long fighters like Lennox Lewis are difficult in the fight on their own. But go and do it with one eye with a depth perception problem makes it even a little more difficult. And you know, hey, he's come in. And I think he was in better shape tonight than I anticipated. He's been up in weight lately, but it doesn't seem to be giving him a problem, or certainly not giving him a problem with someone with one eye.
Thank you very much, Tommy. Jim?
All right, Larry, what about Tommy Morrison, Roy? Off of this performance, you're tempted to say that he's probably never going to be at a level where he could compete with the top 4 or 5 or 6 guys in the division.
Well, his style just doesn't allow him to be able to compete with these guys with his chin not being extra strong. In order to be a small guy, you have to be able to absorb a lot of punches, because the taller guys are going to be punching down on you. You're a small target for them. You're open game. Every time you be still, they're going to hit you, and you have to be able to take 7 or 8 good punches in order to land one. And that one has to almost make up for that whole 7 or 8 that you took to get that one off.
Roy, tremendous job again tonight. We'll look forward to seeing you again somewhere down the road. I guess you're at least going to come watch the fight November 4 in Las Vegas when Bo and Holyfield go against each other.
Almost definitely. I would never let Riddick Bo go another fight without me being there to watch. I have to start supporting my Olympic teammate.
Roy Jones Jr., another great job working as our expert commentator tonight. Thank you very much. Larry Merchant, your closing comments on Lennox Lewis's destruction, really, of Tommy Morrison.
Well, I've never seen a leopard change its spots or a tiger change its stripes, but I have just seen a fighter who once was a champion really trying to modify his style in a way that very few fighters are ever successful at. We can't say that he's completely successful because this is just one fight, but it speaks once again to the tremendous athleticism, intelligence, and ambition of this fighter. He let his ego get in the way before he went out to do the kinds of things that he really is uncomfortable with in his inner soul. In his inner soul, he's more defensive. That's his personality. That's what he was taught to do. And now we've seen him make a pretty impressive statement, even though it was against a fighter who has some limitations, who isn't that widely respected. That's a pretty good thing he did there tonight. He couldn't have hoped for a better result, and I think he has served notice on all of the other heavyweights out there, and hopefully what I would like to see certainly is that he would fight the winner of Bo and Holyfield.
Well, indeed, as we mentioned, this is the first of a series of events that we hope is going to clear the air in the heavyweight division. And in a moment, we'll be talking to the two principals in the next big heavyweight fight upcoming. That one is scheduled, as we mentioned, for November 4 in Las Vegas, a pay-per-view event. Let's take a look ahead toward it. Hundreds of heavyweights have fought in the 90s, but only two have created the heavyweight rivalry of the decade.
And he's breaking from the challenger. And he's breaking from the champion. Let's get it on.
In the first fight, I think we showed great determination, wanting to beat Champ, and there was no quit. I think that night we both were willing to die for what we wanted.
Fought a fight, and it wasn't a smart fight, but it was a very action-packed fight.
Look at Holyfield. What a warrior. Reversing the tide of the battle. The champion now has Bo wobbly.
Well, in the second fight, I made a big mistake thinking that Evander was a pushover. I didn't train like I should have.
And the left hand for Holyfield. And they swing and swing after the bell. What's this? Hey, these guys want to fight.
In the second fight, the fans got a chance to witness a small guy coming back and a guy that's showing true determination, skills, gut, heart.
Crowd rises to its feet. For the second year in a row, they fought the fight of the year. Welcome back live to ringside in Atlantic City, and right now we're ready to talk with both of the principals in the upcoming war, Holyfield Bo 3. From Atlanta, Evander Holyfield. From Las Vegas, where he's preparing for the fight, Riddick Bowe. Riddick, let me start with you, because you're the man who fought Lennox Lewis in the Seoul Olympics 7 years ago. You've known him longer than anybody else in the heavyweight division. What about Lennox's performance tonight? Was that great Lewis, bad Morrison, or a little of both?
I think a little of both. I think somewhere along the line, Tommy lost his concentration. And Lennox, he tried to use his jab a little bit more. So I think both things had something to do with it.
Evander, let's talk about your path back into contendership in the heavyweight division. As you came back to the sport, you had a lot of options available to you. You chose a tough first-time-out battle against Ray Mercer. Now the third fight with Riddick Bowe. Why do you want to move already to this titanic confrontation?
Well, I don't have a long time. After 1996, that will be it for me, and I want to fight the best fighters, and want to fight the fighters that gonna bring me more money, just as well as more status.
In both of the first two fights, both of you hit a lot and got hit a lot. It's hard to imagine after 24 rounds like that we're going to see anything different, Evander. Do you expect the third fight to be very much like the first two?
Well, it should be a little different. I'm bringing more. I don't know what Reddit bringing, but I'm hoping that I won't get hit as much as I got hit in the first two fights, but I know that I'll be punching more, and I'll be a lot stronger, and I'll be a lot smarter.
Riddick, you're like Evander. You've got a lot of options and a lot of potential opponents. Aside from the big money, what are your reasons for wanting to fight this man a third time?
Well, I really think Evander's the best out there, and not to mention I owe him one. I just felt like, you know, I'm the better man, and I want to prove it on the 4th of November.
Evander, there's been a lot of discussion about the evening of November 4. As it turns out, both of you will be fighting down the street from Mike Tyson after he fights at the MGM Grand. Does it bring a little more juice to the situation? Does it make you excited to be fighting in the same town on the same night as Tyson?
Well, not really. It really don't bring anything to me. I realize what I have before me, and that's Riddick. And, you know, my mind is not thinking about Mike Tyson or anybody else. I have a job, and I'm prepared to do a job, and I look forward to the fight. Then, you know, afterwards, I guess I can talk about what happened across the street.
Riddick, your weight is always a subject going into every fight. I am told that when you arrive at the ring November 4, you will have trained longer and harder for this fight than for any of your other big fights since you became a heavyweight contender. Is that true?
Yes, that is true. Again, like I said, I know Evander's going to be at his best, so I have to be at my best. So therefore, I'm training harder, I'm training longer, and hopefully things will come out on my behalf after the fight is over with.
All right. Thank you both, gentlemen, for being patient enough to wait around tonight and talk with us live. We look forward to seeing both of you on November 4. And with an eye toward that big pay-per-view event, we ask you to join myself, Larry Merchant, and George Foreman on Sunday, October 22 for Countdown to Bo Holyfield 3, when we will preview and analyze this upcoming matchup, which has now evolved into the greatest rivalry in boxing today. We'll be back with a final word on what happened in the ring here tonight between Lennox Lewis and Tommy Morrison right after this look at some upcoming entertainment programs on HBO.
In a world torn apart, how can the enemy be loved? No. HBO Original Movies and executive producer Harry Belafonte present The Affair. Inspired by true events. Premieres Saturday, October 14th on HBO.
That unmistakable face, that unforgettable laugh, that unbelievable haircut.
People call me Forrest Gump.
Oscar winner Tom Hanks in the highest-grossing box office movie ever to air on pay TV, Forrest Gump, an HBO exclusive, premieres Saturday, November 4th.
Once again, here in Atlantic City tonight, Lennox Lewis took a big step back toward the center of the heavyweight championship picture with a 1:34-second TKO in the 6th round of Tommy Morrison. Lewis put Morrison on the canvas 4 times in the fight and thoroughly dominated the Oklahoman on the way to an easy victory. Coming up immediately following tonight's coverage of World Championship Boxing, stay tuned for the best of real sex on the East Coast and Assassins HBO First Look on the West Coast. Boxing returns next month with a welterweight championship doubleheader featuring 2 of the sport's best. Pernell Whitaker defending his crown against Jake the Snake Rodriguez, and Felix Trinidad in his HBO debut putting his title on the line against Larry Barnes. See Felix Trinidad, he's sensational. Live Saturday, November 18 on HBO. And join us for Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel, when we'll present an in-depth profile of the most controversial owner in sports today, Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys, and an examination of maybe the most powerful company in all of athletics, Nike. It premieres Tuesday, October 31, only on HBO because no one else hits this hard. So now for Larry Merchant, Roy Jones, and Harold Letterman, I'm Jim Lampley saying goodbye from Atlantic City, New Jersey. The executive producer of HBO Sports is Ross Greenberg. Tonight's broadcast of World Championship Boxing was produced by Rick Bernstein and directed by Mark Payton. Feature producers, Adam Berger and Dave Leipson. The associate producers were Dave Hoffman and Brian McDonald. Assistants to the producer, Lisa Bennett, Jonathan Crystal, and Thomas Odelfelt. The production manager was John McKelly. And the technical supervisor was Bob Hunter.
This has been a presentation of HBO Sports, the network of champions.
Number 1 was an all-out attack.
They brawl in the center of the ring.
Number 2 brought out the heavy artillery.
For the second year in a row, they fought the fight of the year.
Get the battle plans and strategies for what's sure to be World War III. Evander Holyfield.
Holyfield showing his warrior's heart.
Riddick Bowe. Join us as we go behind enemy lines for the biggest 3 since Frazier Ali. The Countdown to Bo Holyfield 3. Premieres Sunday, October 22nd on HBO.
Hey, these guys want to fight.
What exactly is the important thing about a pea? How sweet it is. Sweet Pea Whitaker. HBO Championship Boxing.